Have you ever wondered how God speaks to us? In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, amidst the noise and distractions, it can be challenging to discern the voice of the divine. Yet, the truth is, God speaks to us in myriad ways, often through the quiet whispers of our own minds. Have you ever wondered how God speaks to us? In the hustle and bustle of everyday life, amidst the noise and distractions, it can be challenging to discern the voice of the divine. Yet, the truth is, God speaks to us in myriad ways, often through the quiet whispers of our own minds. Understanding the nature of divine communication is a journey of deepening our spiritual awareness and connection with the divine. It involves recognizing that God speaks to us not only through external signs and messages, but also through the inner workings of our hearts and minds. Divine communication is not bound by language or logic, but transcends these limitations, speaking to us in ways that are deeply personal and meaningful. Divine communication often occurs in moments of stillness and reflection, when we are open and receptive to the subtle nudges of the divine. It can manifest as a sudden insight, a feeling of peace, or a sense of direction. It is important to approach divine communication with humility and openness, recognizing that our understanding is limited and that the ways of God are beyond our comprehension. By cultivating a deep sense of spiritual awareness and practicing discernment, we can begin to recognize the various ways in which God communicates with us. This understanding can bring us closer to the divine and deepen our faith and trust in God's plan for us. Cultivating a quiet mind is essential for hearing God's voice amidst the noise of daily life. This practice involves setting aside dedicated time for stillness and silence, away from distractions, to create a space for divine communication to unfold. Meditation, prayer, and mindfulness are powerful tools for quieting the mind and opening the heart to the whispers of the divine. In the practice of meditation, we learn to observe our thoughts without attachment, allowing them to pass by like clouds in the sky. Through this practice, we create a sense of inner peace and clarity that allows us to hear God's voice more clearly. Prayer, on the other hand, is a way of opening our hearts to God, expressing our gratitude, our hopes, and our fears, and listening for God's response in the depths of our being. Mindfulness, or the practice of being present in the moment, is another powerful tool for cultivating a quiet mind. By focusing on the present moment, we can let go of worries about the future or regrets about the past, creating a space for divine communication to enter. By incorporating these practices into our daily lives, we can cultivate a quiet mind that is attuned to the voice of God, guiding us on our spiritual journey. Recognizing God's voice requires discernment, as it can be easily confused with the voice of our ego. The ego often speaks loudly, driven by fears, desires, and insecurities, while the voice of God is subtle, gentle, and rooted in love and wisdom. To discern between the two, we must cultivate a deep sense of self-awareness and spiritual discernment. One way to distinguish between the voice of God and the ego is to pay attention to the underlying tone and message. The voice of God is compassionate, loving, and uplifting, whereas the ego tends to be judgmental, critical, and self-serving. By tuning into our innermost feelings and intentions, we can begin to recognize which voice is speaking to us. Another helpful practice is to seek guidance from spiritual teachers, mentors, or trusted friends who can offer insight and perspective. They can help us see beyond our ego's limitations and recognize the divine guidance that is always available to us. Ultimately, recognizing God's voice is a deeply personal and intuitive process. It requires us to quiet the noise of our ego and listen with an open heart to the whispers of the divine, trusting that God's guidance will always lead us towards greater love, compassion, and understanding. The wisdom of patience lies in trusting that God's timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't align with our own desires or expectations. Patience is not passive waiting, but an active trust in the divine plan unfolding in its own time and way. In a world that often values speed and instant gratification, patience can be challenging. However, when we learn to surrender our timelines to God's greater wisdom, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of peace and trust in the unfolding of our lives. Patience also teaches us valuable lessons about faith and perseverance. It reminds us that God's plan is far greater than we can imagine, and that everything happens in divine order. By cultivating patience, we learn to let go of our need for control and surrender to the divine flow of life. Trusting in God's timing requires us to remain steadfast in our faith, even when faced with uncertainty or challenges. It is a testament to our belief that God's plan for us is always for our highest good, even when we cannot see the bigger picture. The power of intuition is a divine gift that allows us to connect with God's guidance in a deeply personal and immediate way. Intuition is the inner voice that speaks to us beyond logic and reason, guiding us towards choices and actions that are in alignment with our highest good. To harness the power of intuition, we must learn to quiet the noise of our minds and listen to the whispers of our hearts. This requires trust and faith in our own inner wisdom, as well as in the divine guidance that is always available to us. Intuition often speaks to us through subtle feelings, nudges, or insights that arise spontaneously. It is a gentle yet powerful force that can lead us towards paths of healing, growth, and transformation. Following God's guidance through intuition requires courage and openness to the unknown. It may require us to step outside of our comfort zones or let go of familiar patterns and beliefs. However, when we trust in the power of intuition, we are guided towards greater alignment with our true purpose and the divine plan for our lives. Embracing the mystery of life means acknowledging that there are forces at work beyond our understanding or control. It is an invitation to trust in the unseen, to have faith in the divine plan unfolding around us, even when we cannot see the full picture. Trusting in the unseen requires a deep sense of faith and surrender. It means letting go of our need for certainty and embracing the unknown with an open heart and mind. This can be challenging, especially in a world that often values concrete answers and tangible evidence. However, when we embrace the mystery, we open ourselves to a world of infinite possibilities and potentials. Embracing the mystery also means being open to the unexpected and the miraculous. It means recognizing that there is more to life than what meets the eye, and that the universe is always conspiring in our favor, even when it may not seem that way. Ultimately, embracing the mystery is an act of faith and courage. It is a willingness to surrender to the divine flow of life and trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should, according to a plan that is far greater than we can imagine. Living in alignment with God's will is a continuous journey of seeking harmony between our actions, intentions, and the divine guidance we receive. It involves surrendering our egos and desires to a higher purpose, trusting that God's plan for us is always for our highest good. Following God's will in daily life requires us to cultivate a deep sense of awareness and mindfulness. It means paying attention to the subtle nudges and whispers of the divine and being willing to course correct when we veer off course. Living in alignment also means embodying qualities such as compassion, kindness, and forgiveness in our interactions with others. It means recognizing the divine spark in every being and treating them with the respect and dignity they deserve. Additionally, living in alignment involves being open to the lessons and blessings that come our way, even when they may not align with our expectations or desires. It means trusting that everything happens for a reason, and that God's plan is always unfolding, even in the midst of uncertainty or challenges. Ultimately, living in alignment with God's will is a transformative journey that leads us towards greater peace, fulfillment, and purpose in our lives. In conclusion, embracing the divine dialogue is about cultivating a deep and intimate relationship with the divine, listening to God's voice with an open heart and mind, and following God's guidance with trust and faith. It is a journey of spiritual growth and transformation, a path towards greater wisdom, love, and understanding. The divine dialogue is a two-way conversation where we not only listen to God's voice, but also respond with our actions and intentions. It is a continuous exchange of love and grace, where we surrender our will to God's and align ourselves with the divine plan for our lives. Embracing the divine dialogue requires us to be present and attentive, to quiet the noise of the world and listen for the still, small voice within. It requires us to be humble and open, to acknowledge that we do not have all the answers, and to trust that God's guidance will always lead us in the right direction. As we embrace the divine dialogue, we find that our lives are filled with meaning and purpose. We discover a deep sense of peace and joy that comes from knowing that we are always guided and supported by the divine.